Hi, very good morning to you. It's Gene from the Holocaust Mavstar Observatory. Okay, if you turned on your news channel today, your mainstream bullshit channel, like CNN, Fox News, the BBC, Sky News, etc., and they said to you, have you got yourself a nuclear biological warfare suit yet? Because, there's a lot of countries right now talking about the use of them. In the last 6 months, we've had Russia come out and say that they will detonate a huge nuclear device off the coast of England, which will send a tidal wave covering the whole of the continent and wipe everything off the surface of this continent. We've actually had them come out and say that. And we've had Vladimir Putin constantly threatening to use nuclear missiles at some point. And then we've had China recently in the last few days threaten Japan that if they intervene with Taiwan and whenever China does decide to make its move on Taiwan, if they intervene, Japan, they are going to not use conventional weapons. They're going to use nuclear missiles. They've already said it. So we've got North Korea that want to blow America to bits. We've got China that want to blow Japan to bits. And the United States, if it continues, is in its aggressive manner, imposing sanctions, trying to cripple the Chinese monster economy. We've got Russia threatening nuclear missiles, and you're sitting there right now drinking your cup of tea and you haven't even spent, look at it, £9.50 or even £30 on a single nuclear biological warfare suit, an NBC suit, and look how cheap they are. With all the talk and the rhetoric pointing at this time right now, and the use of words of we will nuke you, we will use tactical nuclear missiles, we will do this, that and the other, and you're sitting there and you haven't even got yourselves one nuclear biological warfare suit. I live on my own. I've got 2 of these suits. I've got the gloves, the foot slips, 2 NBC suits, I've got the respirators, and I've got spare filters. And if you do a bit of shopping, you can pick these up for less than £20. So, usually at the end of the video, I'd say, here is a link. You can donate to this observatory if you want. I'm not going to. I'm going to say, you know what? Donate an NBC suit to yourself. Go onto eBay and buy them. They're cheap as anything. And, of course, no one wants to be around in a nuclear war when, these things start getting used. But at least if you've got one, you can put it on, and then you can think about what you want to do later. And we all know, the mutual agreed destruction. That's the acronym MAD. Yeah, that if a certain amount of nuclear missiles are detonated, it brings a nuclear winter upon the Earth, which will block out the sunlight, kill and radioactively poison everything on the land. We all know that will happen. But you know what? You might at least get to use some of your food supply for a few weeks. That's not a bad thing, is it? At least you'll be able to enjoy the show of everything being destroyed on this planet. You know what? I know all this sounds crazy, and we're looking at nuclear biological warfare suits, but what is more crazy? Me telling you to buy yourselves one and invest in something like this whilst it's cheap. If a nuclear bomb went off today, you know how much these suits would be worth? You would be able to sell one of these suits for £10,000 tomorrow if a nuclear bomb was detonated in your country. People would pay that for that. Not that the money would be useful. Maybe you could exchange it for gold or even food. You know what? This is an investment. This could have massive returns for you in more than one way. And look at the price of them. £18 for a nuclear biological warfare suit. Do you know how much they cost to make? And yet they are being given away. You know, in 2019 we had the outbreak of the pandemic. You know, people were going crazy buying these respirators, and the respirators were selling for over £100. That gives you an idea. Can you imagine how much that respirator or that NBC suit would be worth tomorrow if a nuclear bomb was detonated? And am I crazy to say this to you? Just look at what the world leaders are talking about. Listen to what's coming out their mouths. This today is the best advice you have had in 6 months. I promise you that. It's up to you. Get yourselves an NBC suit tomorrow, because we live in absolutely crazy times where even the talk of such things is now the norm and the common. And you know what? It will be that attitude that, you know, pushes someone eventually to press that button. And it will happen if that rhetoric continues and we keep hearing it constantly, because someone's going to say to themselves, just like two little kids in the playground that are arguing over something, a toy. Yeah, this is the mentality. And, you know, what do? They start pushing each other, and one pushes a little bit more than the other. Next minute, a fist is clenched and someone gets a sock on the nose or in the eye. And that's exactly the mentality of the people that we have running our world today. There's another thing to consider. You know, we've seen on the Georgia Guidestones, which thankfully are no longer there in, you know, full view of what these elitists want to achieve with reducing the world's population down to 500 million, and in doing so killing 7.5 billion. Well, the fastest way to do that is an exchange with nuclear missiles. That's the fastest way to get rid of people. We live in historical crazy times right now where world leaders are threatening the use of nuclear missiles, and we claim to be intelligent, but we have stockpiled these in the thousands. And you know, it's not always the case that when we build something we don't use it, is what I'm saying. You know, it was irresponsible during the Manhattan Project when they built the first nuclear bomb. But let me tell you something, when they tested it, you ain't going to believe this, you can research it. When they tested the first nuclear bomb, they weren't sure whether it was going to ignite the atmosphere. And you know what? They tested it regardless. Can you believe that? That's the sort of people we have driving us forward in this day and age. So, you can pick up an NBC suit for yourself, and you can pick up a few extra ones at this price. Look, there's one there for the smock, £7.95. Was that about $11? It's nothing. What would you pay for that tomorrow if one of the cities locally to you had experienced a nuclear detonation? What would that NBC suit be worth to you tomorrow? You know what? I'm not crazy for mentioning this to you guys, and I know what some people are going to say in the comment section. Fear-mongering. You're fear-mongering, Gene. I'm not. Listen to your news media. Yeah, mainstream. Listen to what other people are talking about these wars. Look at what the UK is doing. Yesterday and the day before, we witnessed the Black Sea Fleet headquarters get hit by a British-made missile, the Starstreak. And we're going to be supplying Ukraine with more of these, and they're starting to target areas in Moscow and other Russian targets. It's not going to be long. Russia's already pushed into the corner, you know this. because it's had to turn to North Korea for replenishing its stocks of armament. It's lost thousands of tanks, tens of thousands of armoured vehicles, hundreds of thousands of lives, and it is going through its available ability to use non-tactical convention weapons at this point. How long can that continue? This isn't fear-mongering. This is a reality that you should, if you consider yourself a prepper, take full heed of. If you haven't got one of these NBC suits for every member of your family and a few extra, you know what today? Don't click on the link in the description and give me any donations at all. You go and buy yourself one of these suits first, and make sure you have one for every family member. And if you can't afford to buy one for every family member or your extended family, then tell them that this is real and that we do live in a time where the people that run our lives, run our governments, are frequently, fluently, flaunting the fact that they will use tactical nuclear missiles. Even Joe Biden months ago used the words Armageddon. Hope you got something out of this video today, because I really believe today was the best advice I ever give anyone in this current climate of craziness that we're living in. I'll say what I usually do, guys. As always, take care of your loved ones. Bye for now.